Cover Up, Chapter 17, Hail Mary. For a moment, Stevie semi-panicked. Brennan was wearing a friendly smile, though, and he decided he would look like a fool if he grabbed Susan Carroll and made a run for it. "Stevie? Susan Carroll, this is Bob Arciro," Brennan said, nodding at a man with jet black hair, graying at the temples, and wire-rimmed glasses. He was smiling too as the four of them met in the middle of the box to shake hands. Stevie noticed that the box was spacious, but nothing like the one he had met Steve Bisciotti in a couple of days earlier. "Bob is another one of our team doctors. He's the orthopedic surgeon who fixed my shoulder a couple years ago." "Did a hell of a job, too, if I do say so myself," Arcirio said, laughing. "He's known for his modesty," Brennan said. And at that point, he stopped smiling. "And unlike Dr. Snow, he's also known for his honesty. So when I saw him here today, I told Coach Caplow that I needed to stay behind this afternoon so he could look at my shoulder." Arciro shook his head. "I feel so bad about this. Eddie just filled me in on what's gone on this week. What Meeker and Snow are doing is beyond inexcusable. To be honest, I'm shocked the coaches are allowing it. But I'm sure Meeker told them they'd all be fired if they opened their mouths." "You mean you didn't know anything about it?" Susan Carroll said. Arcirio shook his head emphatically. "Not until just now. Like Eddie said, I'm the orthopedic surgeon, so I'm not around every day. But now that I do know, I'm not going to sit idly by and allow this to happen." "What can you do?" Stevie said. "I can get you the results of the drug test," Arcirio said calmly. Stevie and Susan Carroll looked at each other. "I should have gone to Bob with this sooner," Brennan said. "I wasn't thinking straight until Darren filled me in on the details of what Snow did to you two. Then I got mad." "How," Susan Carroll said to Arcirio, "can you get the drug tests?" The test results should be on file at the team's training facility. One of the other doctors is in my practice is still in L.A. and can go over there this afternoon and pull the records." They'll just let him walk in and do that?" "Of course. We all have access to the medical files of all our players. They probably won't even ask him why he needs to get into those files. But if they do, he'll just say he needs to pull some information on game day meds that I need." "And the drug tests will be in the files?" Stevie said. "I suspect that's the only place they'll be. If they're trying to hide them, they'd get someone to lose the results at the lab, where they don't know who has access to files and who doesn't. But at the training facility, the only people who have access to the files are the team's medical staff. Gus, that's my partner, can fax them to me today and then bring hard copies with him when he flies in tomorrow." Stevie looked at Susan Carroll. "That would be perfect," she said. "If we got the documents, you don't need to go on record, Eddie." Brennan nodded. "Which, to be honest, is important. If the other players knew I was involved in this, I might not survive the game on Sunday." Arcirio agreed. "That's for sure," he said. "Cheaters aren't the bad guys in professional sports. The ones who expose the cheatings are." "But if we write the story to run on Sunday, what do you think will happen?" "I don't know," Brennan said. "I doubt the league will suspend the guys on the day of the Super Bowl. It will be a bombshell, but I think we'll still play the game." "How will you feel if you win?" Susan Carroll said. "I'm not sure," Brennan said. "I mean, I want to play. I want to win. But all I've been able to think about this week are the drugs that I didn't even take. I feel like I've got to help you clear my own head. I couldn't do nothing, but I can't go on record." "Because your teammates would hate you?" asked Stevie. "Oh, yeah. But how do you feel about them, your teammates who tested positive?" "I'm torn," Brennan said. "They're my friends. I like them all. I even understand why guys feel like HGH would help their careers. The chance to make big money in this sport usually doesn't last long, but I can't condone this. I just can't." They were all silent for a moment. "If we're going to do this," Arcirio said, "I should call Gus right away." Stevie and Susan Carroll looked at Brennan. "Make the call," he said. Arcirio pulled out his cell phone and started dialing. In the end, they decided faxing the reports was a bad idea. The fax would have to go to the hotel, and it was too dangerous to have some hotel employee looking at the test results and deciding he had important information that could be shared with, say, ESPN or USTV. Arcirio agreed to have his partner take a red-eye out of Los Angeles. He would land in Chicago early Saturday morning and be in Indianapolis in time for breakfast. That would give Arcirio plenty of time to get the documents to Stevie and Susan Carroll and allow them to write something for Sunday's paper. I will drive downtown with the documents myself, Arcirio said. They were all shaking hands when Stevie's cell phone started ringing. Seeing the number, he smiled. Whoops, forgot to call Bobby. He could hear Susan Carroll explaining their deal with Kelleher to Brennan and Arcirio while he talked. We'll be back in a few minutes, he said. Everything's okay. But even still, Stevie caught himself looking over his shoulder a couple of times as they circled back around the dome. Who are you looking for? Susan Carroll asked. Not sure, Stevie said. Mike and Mo? Snow? Anyone? I just keep thinking something is bound to happen. I know what you mean, Susan Carroll said. Look, we're still a long way from getting this done. Even if we do get those documents, you can bet the lawyers at the Herald are going to have a lot of questions. Lawyers? He said. Why would a newspaper have lawyers? She gave him the "you are too stupid to live" look. Every newspaper has lawyers, she said. The TV networks do too. You can't just print a story accusing someone of something like this without being 100% sure you've got it right. Newspapers don't like getting sued. There's an old saying in the newspaper business that if you lose a lawsuit, you might lose a printing press. How do you know everything about everything? She smiled. I think it's called reading. You may have heard of it while you were watching the Daily News Live once upon a time. Now you sound like my mother. Remarkably smart woman, your mother. A minute later, they walked into the Marriott and found Kelleher and Mearns waiting for them. They sat down in the lounge and Stevie and Susan Carroll filled them in. Brennan is really out on a limb here, Kelleher commented. If anyone finds out he's involved in this, his career could be over. But why? Susan Carroll said. He's doing the right thing. According to you and me, and most reasonable people, Bobby said. But in the culture of the locker room, he'd be nothing but a snitch. The drug tests results will come out eventually anyway, Stevie said. He's not turning in his teammates as much as he's exposing Meeker's cover-up. You're being logical, Stevie, Tamara said. You can't apply logic in situations like these. They had to figure out a plan to get a story written the next day when the documents were in hand and decide where the story should run. There was no way the Post and the Herald were going to agree to run the same story written by the same writers. My editors won't be happy at all with the story breaking in the Herald, Tamara said, but Stevie's here for the Herald and Susan Carroll isn't here for the Post. You should write it for the Herald. What's going to happen when the story breaks? Stevie asked. Kelleher sat back in his seat. Honestly, I don't know, he said. All hell will break loose. That much I can guarantee. The league will have to decide whether to try to suspend the players for the game. They probably can't, really, since rules require a second test to be positive, too. True, Tamara said, but the league can't just sit back and do nothing. An owner has manipulated the rules, completely ignored them, actually. There's no way Goodell will want to hand the Lombardi Trophy to Meeker on Sunday after his story breaks on Sunday morning. Susan Carroll, who had been staring at the TV over Kelleher's shoulder, snapped back into the conversation. You want to know the truth, she said. At this point, I don't care what the league does on Sunday. I don't know what the solution is, but I know what the problem is, and I want everyone to know to something. Anything can be done. Tamara smiled. Remember when I told you a few months ago you weren't cut out for TV? She said. This is why. You have the heart and soul of a reporter. You're not an entertainer. You're a reporter. Well, Susan Carroll said, I'm ready to do some serious reporting tomorrow. The rest of the afternoon was spent doing background research. One statistic Kelleher came up with was fascinating. The 5 accused linemen had started the season weighing an average of 15 pounds more than when they came into the league. Susan Carroll had no U.S. TV obligations till after the game on Sunday. The network would devote Saturday to coverage of the Hall of Fame announcement and endless analysis of the game, so Kid Sports was off the hook and off the air until after the game. Stevie and CBS were another story. Stevie called Andy Kaplan to find out if he was expected to do anything for the pregame show. Right now, I think the answer is no, Kaplan said. It isn't because they didn't love what you did, but because we have so many people down here jockeying for airtime. Sean's got to try to keep his stars happy. Stevie wasn't disappointed to hear that news. He wondered if he owed CBS any kind of tip-off. After all, they had been very good to him, and this story would certainly affect their game coverage, not to mention the pre-game show. But he doubted they'd believe him without proof, and they didn't have that yet, so he told Kaplan nothing at all. They ate dinner at St. Elmo again because it was easy, thanks to Mike D'Angelo. Stevie didn't think it was possible, but there were more stars in the place than on previous nights. The city's really starting to get crowded, Kelleher commented as a wave of security people led Matt Damon to a private room. A few minutes later, Stevie saw another wave of security people coming. Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins, was coming in along with Tom Cruise. "Place is really crawling with celebs tonight," Mern said. "Ever since Snyder signed that deal with Cruise, he trots him out every chance he gets," Kelleher said. "He must be pretty sick of the whole thing." "Sick of it?" Mern said. "Look at him. He's wearing sunglasses indoors in February. The guy's nuts anyways." "I liked Mission Impossible," Stevie said. "Oh, please," Susan Carroll said. "The last good movie he was in was Rain Man, and Dustin Hoffman was the reason that worked." Stevie had never seen Rain Man, so he decided not to argue. They dropped Susan Carroll off at the Canterbury after dinner and walked back to the Marriott. Stevie was crashing after his ridiculously eventful day and passed on the chance to hang out in the media hospitality room. Normally, spending time with writers was entertaining and educational for him, but for now, he couldn't keep his eyes open. Unlike the night before, he had no trouble sleeping. It seemed only minutes later when the phone woke him. Thinking it was Susan Carroll, he rolled over and picked it up, saying, "What possible reason can there be to wake me up?" "It's Bob Arciero," was the answer he got. Oh my God. Sorry, Doctor, I thought you were..." Arciero cut him off. "Gus just got here. I've got what you need. I'll be at the Marriott in 20 minutes. Can you and Susan Carroll meet me there?" "I'll call her now." He was tingling as he dialed the phone. Susan Carroll was right. But really, what happened after they wrote the story didn't really matter. Their job was to get it written and get it out there.